Hello and welcome to another review, this time another Roco model. This is a Swiss State Railway control car for the IC2000 sets of cars for push-pull operation. Now this model is available on the market for quite some time right now, and I believe this is like a fourth release already. The one that you see right now, the control car, is a catalog number 64856, which is I believe 2016-2017 release year. There's a new release placed on the market in 2019. The additional cars behind it are the 2019 release dates. For the control car, the difference between the earlier version, the 2016-17, which is this one here right in front of you, and the new one released in 2019 are the graphics here, the advertisement graphics. This is the car also known as the dyno car. Right now what is available on the market is pretty much the same model, same paint scheme, but the graphics are different here on the control car, and pretty much no change to the model from structural standpoint of view. Model is equipped with headlights and built-in decoder, functional decoder already built in inside, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Still, this is Roco, about $120–125 for a car. The additional cars are going for about $100 to $105 in US, so quite pricey. These models are more expensive than what I pay for LS models, which I consider as the highest level of commercially available models. So let's take a look and see how Roco is stacking up. A few seconds about packaging. Standard Roco acrylic case, vacuum formed two-piece clamshell with some padding, and stack of manuals, of course, how to disassemble the product and how to connect the lights inside the car if you decide to install them. And what is important is the interior lights are not installed. The headlights are, but this manual is only about directions how to connect the lights if you decide to install. They are not included. And of course, pouch with small parts. I have rarely any comments on packaging, but I received these models from two different locations in Europe, and in two cases the cars had the wheels dislodged. I had to reinstall them. The control car arrived, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, with two small scuffs on the paint here, right on the front wall, which were caused by the packaging grabbing against the front. So even though the first impression is really good, one thing I was able to pick up actually quite quickly is the issue, in my opinion, with the paint here. The red stripes, the red color here, I think it looks like almost is overpainted, and maybe I can demonstrate this better. You can see the granularity as the light is shining here. It's almost like a texturized surface, and you can see it quite clearly here. Now, to compare, this is Tilly, completely different brand, about 1/4 of the price, and you can see the paint is very smooth and even. You can clearly see it here on the blue and the red color. I've seen similar effect only once when I work on one of my models and I oversprayed the clear coat and ended up with very similar effect. Again, 135 euros or $120 in US. Maybe one more model just to make sure that you guys don't think I over exaggerate. This is LS models. Sorry, this is Acme. There's nothing. Perfectly smooth finishing. Here's the opposite side. As you can see, the graphics are very well executed, high resolution image. And the opposite side. Very nice details. And this is the opposite side. Guys, I love these characters. How can you not? These are the running boards or the steps. And the vents are looking very good. Looks like they are probably photo etched. There's the roof line. Of course, engineer cab, very nice executed. Windshield wipers, 3D wire added handrails. As mentioned earlier, please disregard these two small scuffs. The paint got damaged in shipping from a shop, so that's not a factory fault. One of the features that I like a lot about the interior of the engineer cab are the perforated metal panels at the back. You can barely see them when you operate on the layout, but it's a really nice touch. In this configuration I have the full front guard, prototypical guard installed with all the air hoses and couplers. However, if for some reason you decide to install the coupler and run this model in multiple units, you can. There's separate guard, second guard available in a pouch with small parts and an adapter for coupler. The short coupling mechanism is already there, and I hope you can see it well. There's this small opening here, right there. That's where the coupler adapter is going, and then you have to replace the guard. And typically for Roco, like most of the small elements, the front guard is just simply pressed on element and can be very easily replaced. You can see the pins here, one here and one here. And here are all the small parts included with the model. That's the second front guard, adapter for coupler, Roco coupler, prototypical hooks and couplers, air hoses, electrical connectors. Another interesting feature, actually very nice and interesting feature of this model are the side panels here. Typically you will have them probably missing because of lack of clearance between the bogies of the tracks and the sidewalls, but in this case they are connected mechanically with the bogies and they are designed to accommodate for curves. You can see them moving out as the car is going into the curves. If you take a look closely right there, there's a little knob that is pretty much pushing the sides out. Very simple and effective. The electrical pickup is from all 8 wheels. These are split axle wheels. I will talk about it a little bit more in details once we take the car apart. And here's the back wall. Actually very nice looking transition. Clear texturized doors. Well, no comments here. Very nice. Okay, so let's take a look inside. Before you can open this car, you have to remove the steps here, or the boards. There's 4 of them, and they are actually very easy to remove. Tweezers will be the best for this operation, and voila. These models are actually relatively easy to open. You can see some of the locks here. One side. Once you release the locks, the recommended way is to lift the back and just slide it off. And here we go. And you can see the locks 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's one as well. The interior is definitely more intricate than I remember from most of the passenger cars models made by Roco, with multiple add-ons elements like the separate seats and the chairs, the stand-up tables, and the staircase railings on both ends. It actually looks very nice. It's not quite LS models, but very nice looking interior. And as you can see, the back end of my car is kind of slanted down. There's something not quite right with that second floor here. It's definitely sagging down. And this is of course the PCB with 16 pins, 16 plugs, decoder interface, and you can also see the LEDs mounted right on the circuit board here. This model and the 2019 version of it is coming with functional decoder pre-installed already, and this is Zemo 630 decoder, which is a dual mode unit, which means it can automatically detect the power supply and can be operated without any changes on either old style analog DC layout or digital layout. The decoder will automatically detect the type of a power supply. On a DC equipped layout, it will just simply act as a directional color changing unit, switching the colors from white to red depends on direction. If you have a digital controlled layout, you will have to call for an address. This is of course 003, and then activate the functions. And just to demonstrate the dual functions of this decoder, I have a 9-volt battery here. This track is totally isolated from the layout, so right now we're going to apply the straight DC 9-volt signal. You see the white lights on, then reverse polarity, and the red is on, and again. Now I have my command station set up already and turned on. The power supply is switched to power the layout, and I have the decoder already called on the control panel 03, function 1, and direction without changing any programming. This decoder is set up to automatically detect the either DC or digital control, and it will adapt automatically. There's no interior lights, there's no cab lights. I don't know if you've noticed earlier, there are some markings on PCB board. I'm preparing this model to have the interior lights installed using outputs from the decoder. And here's the electrical pickup mechanism. There's no wipers or no blades, it's just simply metal resting points for the half axles. which are transferring the electricity straight from the wheels to the side frames and then hardwired to the decoder. And I have actually one of the half axles taken apart, and you can see that's the whole metal piece, and then you have insulation plastic tube and the other wheel on the other side. This is very simple and very reliable design from my experience. If designed right, this is one of the most, or if not the most reliable way of providing power supply to interior of cars. All 8 wheels are picking up. So since we have the wheels off and the body off, I think it's probably a very good time to take a look at the side panels here and the mechanism of the side panels, so you can see the principles of operation here. The wiring is actually very simple. There's not much to talk about. It's just simply 2 cables hardwired to the track pickup, and there are additional 2 cables coming from the back. Maybe you can see under the floor right here. I do my best to review the additional cars in separate video. However, in general there is not much of a difference between the models and the way how they are built. If we take a look quickly, this is the first class and luggage compartment. It seems to be the same paint quality with slightly grainy finishing, and again the same panels to accommodate for curves, so mechanically they're pretty much built the same way. This is of course the end car and the transition, which is pretty much identical to the one we just reviewed. Here's the bistro car. Again the same story except for interior and windows arrangement. There's not much of a difference. If there's anything specific you guys want me to go over with these cars, I can, but at this point I don't think there's a really need to go over every single one of them. Maybe one thing is the close coupling mechanism, just to demonstrate how close they stand. And this is the coupling between a second class and a bistro car using Roco couplers. Probably a little bit more distance that I would like to see, but especially at this price point. But it's okay, it's just within the industry standards, and that's something that, again, my personal opinion. Okay, so here's my personal conclusion. Here are the things, or the list of things that I like about this model. First of all, the retractable panels to accommodate for the movement of bogies and the side frames. The overall attention to details is good. The updated interior with multiple separate parts, the high resolution graphics and the execution of the advertisement graphics is very good. The electrical system is very well designed, and I really like the idea of having a system picking up from all 8 wheels and the inclusion of the side frames as pickup elements. And of course, the Zimo functional decoder pre-installed. That's definitely a bonus. So here are the 2 things that I don't like about this model. Number 1 is the paint quality. For my taste and my perspective, compared to all the other models which I have in my collection from different brands and different price points, the red paint is applied heavily and looks texturized, and that is applicable to all 4 cars which were presented in this video, which is actually quite disappointing considering that these are over $100 a piece model. And number 2, the price points. I understand the increased complexity of building the control car with the additional electrical components and the Zimo decoder included. However, the additional cars which are standing in the background are priced above the typical price point of passenger cars made by LS models, which I'm finding much better, more prototypical, and overall superior product to Roco models. Happy model railroading. Thank you.